Welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio. I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. And when I started this show in 2008, I was on a mission to promote women-owned businesses and help women succeed by providing resources and valuable tips from other women and men, small business owners. In each interview, my guests speak openly about their triumphs, the scary times, and tough decisions they had to make along the way. Women Entrepreneurs Radio is about showing women how to harness their natural strengths to achieve success on their own terms. Hi everyone, welcome to Women Entrepreneurs Radio, and I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. I'm really glad that you could join me today. And if you're listening to this on Podomatic, the show is also on iTunes, so you can go to womenentrepreneursecrets.com and check on the radio tab in the menu, and that will show you a page with all the links for the different places you can find the show, and a link for iTunes where you can subscribe as well. And also the older shows are being moved over to Libsyn. That's little by little. So a lot of the older shows will be there, moved from Blog Talk Radio. So if you want to see, rather listen to some of those, you could check the link there as well. So there's different ways that you could find out more about the shows currently and past, and also read all about the guests and get the links and where you can find out more about them. So I really hope that you'll do that. And also please be sure to share your feedback or reviews on iTunes, be great, or you can also do that on the blog. They'd really be appreciated. So we're going to get started today with my guest. And you deserve to be happy. Happiness is found when you are able to balance your personal and professional ambitions and be the best version of yourself. Start Balancing is a no excuses book that gives you practical hacks for productivity, solutions for being efficient, and inspiring and relatable advice for daily application, allowing you to find your version of success. Christy Dickerson is a busy mom, is CEO of Start Planner, and has changed thousands of lives by applying the principles in this book. Gain clarity, get direction, and turn your dreams into reality. So welcome to the show, Christy. I'm really glad to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, I really want to hear all about what you've done, and balance particularly is always a really important topic. Before we get started, could you just share more about you and how you started out and what brought you to where you are right now?
Sure. So the long, skinny version is I was someone that grew up with entrepreneurial parents, and I grew up in a middle to lower class family. And my mom cleaned houses, and my dad was a stonemason. And I grew up with one and only one mission: to not be an entrepreneur. So I was the first in my family to go to college. I pursued a finance degree because I thought that if I got this hard degree, that would give me some level of success. Well, in college, I met a boy. Doesn't every kind of story start? And when we met, we met, and he asked me out for a year, and I kept saying no. Went on a date with him. After a year, we got engaged 3 weeks later, and 3 months after that, we got married. So life kind of changed for us. Well, it took even a bigger turn. 3 months after we were married, he had a brain hemorrhage and lost function in his whole right side, and ended up having a blood clot in his leg and all of this really scary medical stuff that I ended up leaving my corporate banking job to take care of him. That really took my life completely out of balance, took all of my goals, all of, honestly, my identity. And it led me to this place of diagnotism where I was depressed. When I look back, I know I was depressed, but I also was just trying to survive. And I think we all have these moments in our lives, whether they're that impactful or not. We all have these moments or these seasons of things being off kilter. Mm-hmm. Well, I found out I was pregnant. So that even added to the health kilter. But that gave us honestly something really positive to look forward to, changed both of our mindsets, got us both like out of our pity party mode. And when he was 1, I started a wedding photography business. I knew that I didn't want to go back to corporate America. I wanted flexibility, but I wanted to do something that I loved. So I applied my business principles to a creative business. And I was able to grow a business really, really fast. And I actually started teaching business and finance in the photography industry about 3 years after starting that business. So I traveled for about 5 years, teaching different creative entrepreneurs business aspects. And I reached out to a friend of mine that was a graphic designer. I was writing for a magazine, and I said, I want to one day write this book called Start Balancing. And I want to share all this stuff that I'm going to teach everyone. And all of these things, honestly, that I failed at and fixed and figured out how to make it be better. And she was like, I love it. I want to one day create a planner. So we kind of combined our forces and we created a company called Start Planner. And we're just over 2 years old. But it went wildfire. We've been featured on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc. It's been all these really amazing opportunities on TV, on radio. And it really led to me about a year ago telling Jenny, that book that I originally reached out to you about? I want to write it. So Start Balancing is kind of, I want to say the last 10 years of my life. It's got an introduction about me, but it's also, tips and tricks and hacks on ways that you can balance. There's this idea of balance. I'm curious of this question. Do you believe in balance? There's a lot of people that don't.
I do, but I think it's really hard to find, which is an understatement.
Yes, and I completely agree with that statement. I feel like I would say 90% of our lives are in the pursuit of balance. But I think it's when you apply principles that can help you save time and that can help you be more efficient and help you have a clear vision of where you even need to be going, and you're actively planning for balance, that's when you're going to be your happiest, because every day you're kind of doing all these things that you need to be doing and your days are happy. So you're happy. So that overall your life is balanced. But I do think that we also have seasons. We have seasons in our life, both personally and professionally, where balance can't be achieved. Whether you're a mom and you're having a baby, your time is going to be committed to your family. Your personal life, you're not going to be, and that's okay. Enjoy it. Soak it up. Whether you're someone that just started and you just graduated and you're having to work 70 hours a week, hustle, work, like find your mark in corporate America. And, there will be a season where you won't have to work those 70 hours as long as you're constantly planning for that. So if it's a season, just like we have 4 seasons, if there's going to be something that's going to change, embrace what is that season you need to be. So if you need to be in a business mode and you're having to pour more hours into the office, embrace it, get it done. If you don't see an end in sight, then that's when you need to be actively making changes and taking steps in order to be proactive and making everything change.
Do you think that a lot of people struggle with balance because maybe they have this idea it's supposed to look like someone else's life?
Absolutely. I think social media is it's false advertising.
Yeah.
Quite frankly. So I think we all have these ideas of what our life should look like. And I don't want to say women, but I also feel like women carry more weight on their shoulders, in a lot of senses, because we have guilt. We have guilt for working too much. We have guilt for not working and contributing financially. We have guilt for not doing this for our kids. We have, there's all these things. We have guilt for everything. And why do we have guilt? I think because we put it on ourselves as expectations. And we do that through what society perceives we should be doing.
That's true. And that's a good point about social media, because sometimes you'll see people, I guess, particularly on Instagram, things like that, and everything always looks so nice and neat and beautiful. And you're like, how's they doing that? Because it doesn't seem like that always is the way. Well, of course, it's not always the way a person's life is, but it looks so effortless. Then you start to think, well, maybe they have some secret I don't have.
I completely agree. And I think that, and you have that whole mentality of the keeping up with the Joneses.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes back to part of balance, I feel like, is setting those goals. I feel like sometimes I feel like majority of the time, people set goals once a year. New Year's resolutions is what they set. This year, I'm going to lose weight. This year, I'm going to spend more time volunteering. This year, I'm going to start this new business. And they do it once a year. But honestly, goals are something you should be doing every single month, and you should be cognizant and know what they are every single day. Mm-hmm. And you should have people in place that hold you accountable to those goals. Because you know who's going to let you down? Mm-hmm. You're going to let yourself down. And so I feel like having people in place that are very clear on what your goals are and what your vision are, and can help you get to that point A to point B, so that when you want to quit or you don't think you can, they're not going to let you quit. I have a bunch of different accountability partners, I like to call them, in multiple areas of my life, so that I continue showing up. Whether it be I go to the gym and I work out with a group of people at the gym, and if I don't show up 2 days, they're like texting me, where are you? Where have you been? Or whether it be my business partner with Start Planner that, I was a solo entrepreneur for 7 years, and you wouldn't believe the difference that it makes when you have to show up for somebody else. Mm-hmm. We've grown our business so fast because I feel like I'm so much more aggressive and I'm so much more savvy because I've got other people to show up for. Mm-hmm. Whereas I could have probably grown my own business faster if I was just not showing up for myself, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I think that part of balance is, being really, really clear what your goals are, and making sure that they're SMART goals, that they're not just, I want to start a business in 2018. I'm going to start a business in November 1st of 2018. And my action steps are going to be, I need to figure out how much I need to make to be able to go from full-time at my current job to part-time. I need to figure out what I need to invest, like all these action steps that I feel like people forget. And a lot of times I think people have these ideas and want to do things, but they just get stagnant. And I'm just like, I meet people and I'm like, how are you? And they're like, I'm fine. And I'm like, you're fine. Like, what does fine mean? Like, I feel like fine is such a, like, it's not an okay word. Mm-hmm. Like, you should be great. What can we do to make your life great? What are you lacking? Like, is it you're not, make that, like, people, you have complete control of your life. You really, really do. And, this book, the book Start Balancing, is dedicated to my Aunt Tina. And I feel like she passed away. She was diagnosed at 38 with leukemia, and she passed away 8 months after diagnosis. And she was probably, looking back, one of the most unbalanced persons there was. And ultimately, I think it led to her health of her life and cut her life short. And I think that, we all have these opportunities in our life to be balanced, to live a healthier life, to be able to travel, to be able to invest in relationships that are really meaningful. And I think that's a big key of it too, is health and community and relationships are a big piece of happiness and a big key piece of creating balance in all your worlds.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I think those are excellent points. So, would you mind sharing some of the things? I know you have been already, but sharing some of the points in your book. What will people find when they read that? What are the takeaways that you're hoping that they get from that?
So one of the big takeaways, and I feel like it's kind of like one of those things that's like, yeah, I know that needs to be done, but it's just been on the back burner, is organization. Mm. And it's organization starts from your office to your computer, to your folders on your computer, to your closet, to your kids' stuff. I mean, it really is, I feel like, the cornerstone of being able to be balanced. I feel like our most important asset is time. Mm-hmm. And in order to be efficient with our time, we have to be organized. Of course, there's really brilliant people that can get stuff done and have really great ideas, and maybe they're not organized. But from an efficiency standpoint and a day-to-day standpoint, we have to be organized in order to get things done. And 3 things that I would like to share with you guys that you could do now is one is create workflows for things. And if you're doing it more than twice is when you should create a workflow for it. So it could be buying your groceries. If you're doing it more, how are you going to get from groceries to finished meals in order to get everyone fed? And it could be a workflow of I'm buying groceries on Saturday morning and I'm meal prepping Sunday afternoon. Mm-hmm. And, that could be as simple as that. And what happens is a workflow becomes a routine. It becomes a healthy habit in your life that helps you to balance your worlds. And if you do it more than twice, you should also create templates for it. So if you run a business and you get an inquiry email, instead of writing that inquiry email over and over, hey, I'm such and such, here's my pricing information, create a template email for that so that you can just reply with that template, add a little bit of personalization, hit send. Mm-hmm. And probably the third thing would be look for apps or resources that can make your life easier. Instead of, for instance, we have so many different apps. Instead of answering customer service emails, we use Zendesk. Zendesk is an app that you can use that connects to your online store. And instead of writing that template email over and over, you can apply a macro, which just saves so much time. Their service, I think, is $49 a month. It saves us probably 20 hours a day and being able to answer and respond to questions that we get over and over. And you can do that with your personal life and your business with using apps such as Dropbox or Evernote. And obviously, get organized and plan and set up your schedule is probably one of the most important things. And of course we have Start Planner but if you're someone that doesn't like paper planners, just get organized, use it, find a digital app or a way for you to make planning a priority.
That is such great advice because especially making organization really so important because I think people really don't appreciate the importance of knowing where things are and how they're going to do them and having the routines and doing that in particularly when you're juggling business and then of course your personal life. It's almost like it's required for you to have some kind of handle on everything. So with your planner thing, that obviously it's really a terrific tool for someone particularly who has all these different facets to their life to really be able to look at everything in one place.
It is. I mean, that's kind of Start Planner came about because I was using a regular calendar and I was using a goal planner. And I would keep an Excel sheet for our financials. And I really was like, God. And then, 1 month I would go by and I didn't plan for our financials. And because I got busy. Mm-hmm. And I feel like we grow up on, doing workbooks and having something physical in front of us. And I feel like it's something so gratifying with seeing it in front of you. When it's right in front of you, you can't close an app out. So what we found was we put all of this together. So Start Planner is set up so that it's goals. It's budgeting and financials. It's vacation planning. It's holiday planning. It's time management, but it's also health. It's planning groceries. It's all of these different things that in order for you to be balanced and for order for you to find success and to get all these things done, you must actively plan for all these areas of your life so that you can do the things that you love, so you can take those vacations, so that you can save to buy that new house that you want to buy. They all work together. And health is one of those big components, drinking enough water and taking care of yourself and eating the right food so that you feel amazing. It's something that I had to learn the hard way that it's so important. So, yeah.
Wow, that's terrific because I think that's something that people really want to know exactly what's included and how they can use that to their benefit because I think you were saying you were using a goal planner. A lot of times those types of planners don't really take into consideration all the aspects of your life. It just seems to be for one thing, and then you've got all these other things you're keeping track of, and then you are losing track of them because there's nowhere to put them, there's nowhere to write them, or you have scraps of paper, or things are all over the place.
And you got Post-its everywhere.
Yes.
You're not sure. Experience, are you?
Well, I do have Post-its, but then, there's the Post-its and you forget about what you had on the Post-it.
I get it. I mean, we all have been there. I get it.
Exactly. Or you get so used to looking at the Post-it that you're not even paying attention anymore to what's on it. Was that?
I did write that Post-it for a reason, didn't I?
I'm like, oh wait, what does that say again? You're just so used to seeing it. It's like, oh, it's just decoration, but it just loses its importance at that point because you just like colored paper everywhere, but you're not really doing what you should be doing. So, I think the planners are really so helpful, and then you can take them with you, and they're. I think, I like writing things down, I like the feeling of the pen on the paper. So I think there's a lot to be said for that, that you're not going to get from an app. So, I really think that's a great idea. But why don't you share with everyone where they can find more about you and the planner and your book and everything?
Absolutely. So Start Planner, you can find at startplanner.com, START planner.com, and then Start Balancing the book as at startbalancing.com, START balancing.com. And then you can find out more about me at KristyDickerson.com, and it's KristyDickerson, and I'm of course on Instagram and Facebook and, every other social media that there is out there these days. So yeah, and then if you go to Start Balancing, we also have some really cool free giveaways. That if you subscribe to the newsletter, you actually get the first chapter of the book for free. But we also give away, some free wallpaper downloads and free goal planner getting started, and just some other really cool things that can help get people started. This book for me was such a personal project that for instance, have you seen it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's square, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted it to be square. I wanted it to be white. I wanted it to be gold foil. I wanted it to stand out and stand apart from other books. So something you might not know is this is a self-published book.
Oh, wow.
So I let me back up a little bit. I had this idea, reached out to put together a proposal. I knew that I researched, found out how do I even make a book happen. Mm-hmm. Researched all the different agents that I knew that I wanted to work with, that had worked with similar authors within what I was trying to teach. Sent out 48 different media kits with my proposal to all of these different agents, and I heard back from 0.
Really?
I am not stopping. I'm going. And I kept going, was speaking to a mutual friend. The original company that I wanted to work with, she had a mutual friend with someone else that was their employee's person. It was a long distance connection. I was like, can you connect me? And she was like, yeah, sure. She connected me with this person, with this agency. The agency, literally within an hour of the email connection, she was like, I have never seen a proposal more beautiful and more thought out with a first-time author. And I was like, thank you. And I was like, we actually sent you a proposal. And she was like, did you really? And I think they get so many. I think that it get lost. It takes that personal connection. So if you're someone listening to this and you're like, I want to do something, but I keep getting rejected, don't stop. Keep going. Mm-hmm. Well, actually, I worked with them for about 6 months, and they wanted to change so much about the book, and they had a different picture of what the book was going to be. And when you go with an agency, you sign with them, and then they present your book to publishers. Mm-hmm. And the first thing the publisher then has the right to do is to change everything again about the book.
Yeah.
And publishers, they're looking at the business side of it. And they're never going to let you, number one, print an odd-shaped book. Number two, a first-time author hardly never gets a hardcover book. And so I just felt going down this path that it wasn't the right path for me. And I busted my butt to get that contract and to get that agent. And I basically said, look, I thank you, but I feel like at this point, seeing what the business is and what it is, I want this project to be, I want the book to be square. I want it to be balanced. And I know that it's not going to happen. And I also feel like the nature of the entire book industry has changed. 80% of book sales are online now. And guess what? I have the capability of selling online. I can do it in that market space. And I knew I had a really good, we knew that we had methods on how to market and how to get things out. And so we really had all of the pieces that we kind of need. And I made a decision to self-publish. And my goal is going through this process. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to then write another book. I already own the domain startsellingyourbook.com. I haven't done anything with it yet. It's there. I own the domain. But my goal is to learn how to self-publish my book and do it in a really good way and share the pros and cons with anybody else that wants to write a book so that they can figure out how they can do it as well.
Well, that is really terrific because, I mean, the planner looks gorgeous. And, you know, I was on your website, I'm on there again right now. And, I mean, what you're saying, I'm shocked that they're like, you know, we want to change this and that. And, you know, I'm aware of, like, the size, and they all have their own idea of what they want to produce. But it seems like, well, how could they pass this up? It's like...
I think that it's and you know, for me, it might have not been having those right connections. And I was kind of at that point where I was ready to go. The book was done. I mean, most times this, you know, people have an idea, they write a proposal, and the proposal goes to an agent, and the agent gets you a deal, and then you write the book. I was ready the book was done. I was ready to go. So I also think, you know, had I took a year and, you know, really, and they offered me a deal. So I turned it down. So it's not that they didn't offer a deal. I turned it down because I felt like what we could do and the product that we could do would be better. And I don't know. I mean, we'll see at the end of this process if I still like where, you know, I think having a support system and having people that, are outside influences are huge. But I feel like from my perspective, I was a first time author. It was probably going to be a small deal because I was a first-time author, and I'm going to really prove myself in this book. And then we'll see what round 2 I do.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and that takes a lot of courage as well for you to have your vision and know what you want. You're ready to go. And I'm sure you know there are people who probably just would have said, well, I'll let them do it because they must know better. And then what they probably would have produced would have been so far away from what the original vision was, that possibly could have just gotten lost in the shuffle of other things that publisher may have turned out that may have been all very similar, nothing that really captured that original idea. So that really takes a lot of confidence and belief, I think, for you to say, no, I'm going to go with what I know in my gut is where I need to go with this project.
Oh, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I even when I fired off the email, I'm like, am I doing the right thing? I feel like you have to, I feel like your gut is 60% of telling you what you need to be doing. And I feel like with so many people, they have their gut telling them what they should be doing, but they have their mind holding them back. And I'm one of those people, and I think it's because, I think Deb, it's because of I think it's my upbringing. I grew up with 2 entrepreneurial parents that showed me how you get stuff done, and it's through work. And that's one thing that I'm not afraid of. And I'm not afraid of people turning me down. I'm not afraid of rejection. I'm not afraid of failure. I'm not afraid of making mistakes because I would not be here and I would not be the person that I am had I not failed on multiple things, had I not made mistakes, had I not, you know, for instance, we had our books coming in because I'm self-published. They were coming in on, I'm in Atlanta and we got affected by Hurricane Irma.
Oh, yeah.
And all of the logistical companies in the Southeast are really delayed. Like all of the Miami ports, all of the stuff in Savannah, everything is super delayed because of everything that happened. And they told me, they said, well, your books are going to not be able to deliver it until, you know, later in the week. And it wasn't acceptable to me. You know what I did? I went and got my keys, went to a local truck rental place, rented a 26-foot truck, drove down from our warehouse. We're a little bit north of Atlanta. Drove to the warehouse in Atlanta, backed that 26-foot truck up, stood in the line with all the truck drivers. They're looking at me like, what is she doing here? All the truck drivers, signed all the paperwork, loaded them up, and brought them back to our warehouse. Like, if there's a problem, just fix it, right? I'm serious.
Wow.
I drove at 10 and 2. I made sure I was really, really careful.
Oh my goodness, that is something else.
But I think that's what people get. They get hung up on the problem. If there's a problem, fix it.
Yeah.
You know? Right. And I think that's with so many different areas of people's life. Like, you know, they're not feeling good because, you know, they're not eating well. And I grew up eating whatever I wanted. And I got to this point in my life where my health was being affected by it. And look, I had to make a change. It's either you eat clean and avoid these things that you are now allergic to, or you feel bad.
Right.
And it's that black and white to me. And I feel like so many people can live in that gray. Mm-hmm. And that gray, I feel like, gets them in trouble in the long run because you keep saying no to things, and you're living in a stagnant area. And I just feel like people deserve to be happy. People deserve to be the best version of themselves. And really, ultimately, no one is ever going to give you permission to do the things that you want to do. No one is ever going to say, hey, you can fix this problem and go, you can go drive a 26-foot truck yourself. No one is ever going to say that. Because I called my husband. My husband's like, you're doing what? I'm like, oh yes, I am. I need to let you go because I'm on the interstate right now. I'll talk to you when I get back. And, so no one is ever going to be like, you can start this new business. You can leave your job and pursue this. You can get that corporate job that you want. You can get that raise. You have to be an advocate for you.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. And I think a lot of people either forget that, or maybe they weren't really exposed to that, or there's a variety of reasons why people make decisions they do. But particularly in what you're saying, someone may go, oh wow, what am I going to do? And as you said, dwell on the problem, but you're like, well, okay, there's a way I can work with this, and just go and do that. And that's, I think a lot of times we get stuck in the problem because we're busy or thinking about how terrible this is, this happened. And then the thing is right there that maybe we could do about it. And so I think that is such a fantastic story, because that is so true, particularly when you come to business and people trying to solve problems that come up and weigh them down, or maybe end up giving up on an idea because they feel like they're powerless to make any kind of action to get out of that thing or to take that risk. It's so important for people to know that they can do that. And they can make mistakes, and all of that can happen. It's okay to do that, because I don't think that message is put out there enough, particularly around business and people starting businesses, that they may get the message that it always has to be perfect and always perfectly done, everything always is successful, and that they don't really see that there are these other things that go on as well. And it doesn't mean that they're bad people or that they've made a bad business choice, but there's something that can be fixed, or another road can be taken, or another action can be taken. I think that's a message that really needs to be out there much more.
I completely agree. And, with that message as well, just make sure you check the box to get the insurance. I mean, I'm being serious, like theoretically and like actually speaking. I mean, because there is, with people taking risk, I mean, make sure you're making an educated risk.
Yes.
And not talking about, I'm making a metaphor to this truck. I mean, obviously I got insurance on it before I took it out, but I'm bringing it to life. Like, instead of just doing your day job and saying, oh, I'm going to make this business happen, like make an educated decision. Know what you need to make that happen. What are the action steps? Get all your numbers together. So that you have insurance and you have an idea and you have a vision of what needs to be done in order to make that vision a success.
Right.
Because there will be a lot of things that happen along the way that you might feel as a failure. But I feel like that, the saying, a failure is only failure if you allow it to be, is so true.
It's true. You really can learn from that thing, whatever happened, whether it's a choice that you made that led to something, or something that's beyond your control. Like the weather, obviously. It's just, okay, now what do we do with this? Okay, we can, you can rent a truck. You could do this. You could do that. It's that kind of thing to just understand that you do have some choices and can really try to work it through and not beat yourself up about it and then get in this place where now you can't even think about what the next better move is to make because now you're so down on yourself and blaming, we get into the spirals as well at times, and it's good to realize that there's another way to get through something, or, just kind of say, well, okay, I'm going to have that for a minute now. Let's come out of that. What's the next step?
Right.
Yeah. We could really talk about this for a long time because this is really terrific stuff. But, Christy, what are some of your final thoughts about what we've said or anything that you want to mention that maybe we didn't cover?
I feel like if you're listening to this and you're someone that's like, oh, I'm not organized and I need to create workflows and I need someone to hold me accountable and I need to fix this area of my life and I need to first write all that down. And let that be a thought. You also need to, one of the biggest things I think people need to learn is to learn to say no. Once you know what your goals are and your visions are, learn to say no to the things that don't align with your goals professionally or personally. Because it's okay to say no to things that are not within your realm, because otherwise you're doing a bunch of things that are filling up your time that are not part of who you're wanting to be for your life and your vision and for the people and the family that you need to be. So I feel like, one of the biggest things that holds us back too is our own fear. And having someone else hold you accountable is important. So if you're listening to this and you do not have someone to hold you accountable, obviously there's business coaches, there's mentors, there's workshops that you can go to, but there's also friends that are free. And you might have a friend that also has a small business if you're an entrepreneur. And, commit to once a month you're meeting and you're talking about your businesses, and maybe one person's really good in the business side, another one's better in the creative, and you collaborate. There's so many ways that you can, look how to market, how to better your life, in order to find balance. And if you're in a season of life and you're listening to this, that ultimately you're like, I can't be balanced. My husband, you heard a little bit about him. He owned a logistics company. And 4 years ago, he sold it, and he came home and he says, I'm going to go back and get a nursing degree. And I'm like, say what? So in his late 30s, he decided to go back and get a nursing degree. And we, as a family, have 3 boys. So you can imagine 3 boys and a husband in college and running Start Planner and Start Balancing and all these things that have a lot of stuff on my plate. So being really organized and being efficient with my time is a must. But what I have realized too is, this book is such a manifestation of my entire life, because it's even still happening. He graduated in May, and he now started a job working in an ICU at a local hospital, and he started about 3 weeks ago. And all of these things that I'm talking about, summer we got lazy. We weren't meal prepping. We weren't doing all these things. And then now he's working shifts that are 7 to 7, and I'm got morning duty, work, and then got the homework afternoon duty. It just reminds me of the importance of doing all these things. So if you're in a season where you feel like you can't get ahead, I'm there. I've been there. If you can, make action steps to, okay, now I'm meal prepping again. Now I'm getting organized. Now I'm going to get my life. Now I'm going to declutter this. Now I'm going to get these photos organized. All of these things, and just start allocating time to it, you will see an end in sight. Break them down into smaller action steps and allocate a day to them to make them happen. So those are kind of just my last thoughts. I feel like my role in life and my passion lies in making sure that people know that they're intended for a specific purpose, and it's up to them to make that happen. And I hope that by listening to this and, by reading Start Balancing, and if you see your planners, that you get inspired to make change and to actively plan for your life, because I feel like we're all designed to be really awesome at something. And, that's what I feel like.
Well, that's terrific. Wow. That's really terrific. And I think that what makes it even better is that you, as you said, this is your life and you're living it, and you're not just talking from some other place and going, oh, well, you go do this. It's like you are living this example. And I think that makes it even better for people to relate and understand that, yeah, they can do that too. So I think that is just terrific. And I'm so happy that you were able to take time in your busy schedule to come and join me today and share all this great information about your products and your book and your story. I really appreciate it, Christy. It's been so wonderful to have you here today.
Well, thank you for having me, Deb. It's been a pleasure.
So everyone, I know that you enjoyed this. I know you did. So please make sure you share it on social media. Please visit Christy's sites and check out her book and planner and everything, and really, take everything to heart, because you too can, do it and do what's in your heart, and just get organized first. So, and leave the Post-it notes. I'll just put my 2 cents in there. Leave the Post-it notes, but definitely organization really is the key to everything, and you're just going to feel a lot less overwhelmed and be able to really have your vision and start putting that in place. So I really enjoyed the show. I know you did too. And I'm so glad that you could join me again for Women Entrepreneurs Radio. And I'm your host, Deborah Bailey. Thanks for joining me, and see you again next time. Bye-bye. Thanks for joining us. You can also join in the conversation on Facebook.com/Women Entrepreneurs and on the website, WomenEntrepreneursSecrets.com. And don't forget to listen in on dvcoach.podomatic.com and on iTunes.